also after Hitler.
Who specifically named them? Can you?
Well, we didn't bother much. They were very, very ultra-religious when I was in the city.
You know their
They
names?
lived in the city.
You know their names?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Yeah, well, my
Well,
father's sister.
Schlissel's
No, the
sister was-
Schlissel was somebody else.
Oh, okay.
This was Scheindl. She was a very religious woman. My father's sister
Right,
in Rosadev, where I was an apprentice.
right.
But
Tell me a little about the religious life as you can remember it as a boy, religious observances,
my own.
your own, the family.
Of course, I had to do the best I could because I was under my mother's supervision, and my mother, she was a real Jewish mother, and she wanted
Rigid?
rigid. She had to be a little rigid. She didn't want the children to grow up goyim.
Right.
So we did everything possible. I had a light tefillin every morning, daven. And,
Did she check on it?
No, she couldn't check on it because I don't think she even knew how to daven. She knew how to daven, but how could she check? She had so much work to be done in the house.
So you really did it voluntarily?
I
didn't
did
you?
voluntarily, and how I did it, only God knows.
Why?
Well, how could I do everything, the full scale when I had to go to school? I had to get up early, had to eat breakfast, go to school. It was actually dark yet.
Did you cut corners with your davening?
I cut plenty corners.
Everybody did.
You're on the kids with a scare.
Yeah.
I thought, surely after
You
every
mean
corner...
guilt.
Guilt. I was
Rabbanu
sure.
Shalom is going to strike you dead.
I
huh?
was sure after every corner I cut, I'd go right straight to hell.
Yeah. I think you managed to avoid it pretty well, though, for all these years.
But I cut corners, and I did best I can. I went from the school in that second village. We had to go to Cheder, and we
Now,
learned.
how about shul? Was there a shul or the shul in the next
In the
town?
village, we had no shul.
Where was
There
your shul?
We davened
Somebody's
Shabbos in that next village. That there was already richer Jews.
Right,
You know.
you just mentioned that.
Yeah,
right.
richer Jews, and he also had a tavern, but he also had that I don't know how to call it. They had guest house. That's right. That's what they call it, a guest
Right,
house.
right.
People used to stop in from, I
Right.
remember the automobiles already started to be in creation. And I know
Really? You remember cars there?
Oh yeah, only one wealthy man in Rosadev, in that city. He was a bachelor. He was actually, I used to call him the Kshonger. He used to be a pal, can you imagine, to Francis Joseph in Vienna.
Oh, my.
From that village.
A pal of the emperor.
That's right, a
Hey,
pal of
he
the
had
emperor.
good connections,
He
didn't
was
he?
very, very wealthy. And that's it. What else? That's it.
Well, if you remember an automobile, just a little
Well,
interesting
that automobile, he sped through.
You came here in 1910, roughly, didn't you?
Right.
1910.
Yeah.
Now this had to be prior to 1910.
Oh, way back. I
So,
could say.
boy, that was a pretty early automobile.
When I
then.
went to school, let's see, 1910, 1907, I must have been about at least 3 years, or 1904.
1904. So you remember an automobile?
An automobile from that.
1904. You were 10 years old.
Yes. He sped through on that, I told you, on the federal highway.
Uh-huh.
On that highway only. And he stopped.
If you say highway, it wasn't paved, was it?
It was kind of I don't know how you can call it.
Gravel?
Hardened.
Packed gravel?
Yeah, hardened gravel, like,
Right, Right. It wasn't
Yeah.
blacktop or concrete.
There was no
as we
mud
know
on
it.
that, because
Right,
it was gravel.
Right, gravel.
No
Right.
mud. And he used to speed through those villages.
But Rosh Hashanah saying Yom Kippur
Rosh
was,
Hashanah, that's
was
it.
spent in the next village, is that it?
Rosh Hashanah, then already there was way ahead another village. There was a wealthy baron, or whatever you call it, Jewish.
A landholder?
Oh, yeah, of course, a landholder. What a landholder.
When you say baron, did he have an actual official title of nobility?
Well,
or-
he had no official title, but he was also a close friend to Francis Joseph. Can you imagine?
So in other words, Jews were able to be friends of the ruler of Poland at that time.
Absolutely.
Well, that's interesting.
I really don't know in English how you call it. He had a lot of big farms, big fields, big everything.
He was a very wealthy person,
So
big estates.
And they also, of course, felt like doing some good charitable work. So they invited us over. My mother.
But there was not an actual shul that you daven in.
Anywhere, no shul. They davened in one of their rooms.
Oh, I see.
That was in that, like a little, I don't know how you call it.
And a rabbi and cantor led the service?
There was no rabbi, no. One of the Jews performed the services.
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember how it got there, but I know after the services, we slept over there the first day, the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. We slept over there and we ate there. And then in the evening, he took us home. The second day,
Really?
Yeah, he took us home by horse and wagon. And but for Yom Kippur, we went there again for Kol Nidre.
Right.
And we slept over there. He gave us sleeping quarters. He gave us. Then, of course, Yom Kippur nobody eats. But after Yom Kippur,
right,
he made a feast. He made a feast for all the people that were there.
Right there.
For the services. And he took everybody home, and he took us home too. He sent us home with a here you would call a chauffeur, but this is horse and wagon.
Right,
so,
the driver.
Driver,
right.
That's right. He sent us home and gave us along some stuff too, and he kind of charitable work. Of course, to him it didn't mean anything.
Right.
Very wealthy.
Now, did you actually see the inside of any of these beautiful synagogues that are shown in pictures before you came to the United States? I've seen pictures, for example.
Of course, we had a wonderful, beautiful shul in the city of Zbydniow where I was an apprentice.
Oh, but that came later. In other words, during your boyhood.
My boyhood.
Prior to your apprenticeship, you didn't see any shul then, did you?
I don't think I did.
Right.
I don't think I did.
Right.
No.
Well, now let me ask you a question before we go on to the apprentice era of your life. Pogroms. Then
not by us.
Then under this very favorable rule of Franz Joseph, who, as you say, was kindly disposed to the Jews, happily and fortunately, there were no pogroms. Now there was some trouble though, because I remember there was a family item, a sister of yours who was abused and so on. Or was that not a pogrom?
I believe that was during the First World War.
Oh,
I was already
see.
in this country.
I see. Okay.
I was in this country.
All right. Then
there was anti-Semitism anyway, because I remember like now.
It just lurked beneath the surface. Is that it?
That's right. I really can't understand, but they always had it in for the Jews, some Polish peasants especially. And I remember when I used to play with the kids, Polish kids, and I was ahead of them or something.
Right.
And they wanted to get even with me, so they used to rattle their teeth. And they said, wait.
You know what?
It'll come a war.
How about Hawthorne Street, Stamford, Connecticut, USA?
Yeah.
I had the same thing growing up. So
that's right.
It's only 3,000 miles away, and the scene was the same.
And they used to say, I remember like now, it doesn't look good even to repeat it in Polish. That means it's going to be a war on the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
That time, can you imagine?
That was a nice thing to expect.
And it was on the Francis Joseph. It was it's supposed to be everybody alike.
In other words, a prediction that these good times will come to an end.
And it did come somehow in 1914 when the war broke out.
Right.
Believe me, they all got even. At that time, they joined up with the Russians.
Oh.
Where Russia somehow was ahead in the war that time over the Austrian army, which wasn't too good of an army.
Yeah.
And they took over village after village, and the Jews were the first victims.
All right, now go back with me, if you will, please, Dad. From the very day that you decided that you were leaving to become an apprentice baker, who made that decision? It wasn't made by you, was it?
It was strictly made between Mom and myself. Yes.
It was made between the two of you.
Definitely. It was a reason. First of all, Mom knew, and I knew, we have to make a future. I have to make a future for myself.
You had to have a trade.
Right, I had to make a trade. And then as nature wants it, somehow nobody likes stepfather, stepmother, nobody likes it. I had a wonderful stepfather, still I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I was born, actually I was born because I don't even remember my father. So I was born and raised just by my mother. All of a sudden, I see a man in the house, ruling me, managing me.
How old were you roughly when he came into your life?
Well, I don't remember,
roughly,
but it could have been.
Yes.
I don't know, 11 years.
11, 12. So
11,
in other
12,
words, you were a pretty independent soul until about 11. All of a sudden, there's a man in the house.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
Right.
So I just couldn't. Although he was a very good-natured man, he had a name for a good man.
Mom's father.
Right.
You better be careful what you say.
That's right, but I just couldn't take it.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I just couldn't take it.
Right.
So I decided it would be best for me to leave the house.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, I have to make a future for myself.
Right.
So when that baker from the city delivered, it was in our village, I think he delivered some bread to sell.